We are live. Hello, everyone. It's me, Johnny Be Crazy again, the stream master. You'll see my face everywhere, whether you like it or not. But I love you. And today we'll be talking Legion Season 3 predictions and what the heck is going on. I have a very special guest with me today, Rhee Venjenz and BrokeBlackMan94. Go ahead and introduce yourself. We'll start off with Rhee.
Hi, I'm Rhee Venjenz. You guys know me from general YouTube hangouts. I'm also I'm everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, even Blizzard. Come check me out sometimes. Play Warcraft. I might get back on here eventually if I get away from these books. I'm ready to talk some Legion when you guys are ready to jump in.
BBM. I got your stuff linked. Legion, your Legion reactions and everything. Go ahead and plug yourself, good sir.
Well, hey all, BrokeBlackMan94 here, as Johnny was saying. Reaction, recap, review of many episodes of Legion and other shows, but more importantly, a man of Funko Pops. I give you a Deadpool pop since, he's dealing with the freaking X-Men now and again. So I am just ready to have this Legion stream, man. Can't wait.
That's right. Hashtag X-Force. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get right into it. We're going to start predictions, and we'll basically be starting character by character. So we're going to talk about Carrie and Carrie Loudermilk. The literal twins, about as little as it gets. Paternal twins that can meld together. And, of course, the girl Carrie with a K, lives inside of the male Carrie with a C. So we're having this dynamic where Carrie is getting old, the male Carrie, and he's possibly going to die. The other Carrie is starting to age since she's been outside of Carrie's body. Do you think she'll eventually catch up with Carrie in age? Or do you think one of the Carries will die this season? For me, I think something of that nature is going to happen this season. BBM, what do you think is going to happen to the Loudermilks?
Well, for starters, I didn't even know them as the Loudermilks. I just know them as Carrie with a C and Carrie with a K. But I think when it comes to season 3, I think when it comes to like characters who may end up dying or something tragic to happen with them, because like in season 1, one of the I know his name begins with a B, and I can never remember him because they never like spend so much time with his character. Like he fatally died, and in season 2, we got something happens with Platonomy, and I think that they're hinting that one of the Carries may meet their demise. I'm thinking it's the one with the C, the male Carrie, because the way we has that conversation with Carrie with a K, the female version talking about and something could happen where I can die. And she was like, oh, I'll kill death. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, are we going to actually get death, on this show trying to, take, the male Carrie and whatnot, though? But it seems like they're truly hinting it. What do you think, Rhee?
Yeah.
They say something, Johnny.
No, I was just going to point out we got the gray hair, and I know Rhee's got a bunch to say about that. And, yeah, go ahead, Rhee.
Oh yeah, I got a bunch to say about that. Is that what it is?
And it happened again. Rhee, start over for us. I apologize. You dropped off for just a second. Go ahead.
Did it really? Okay. All right. Is that better? Okay. All right. We got the Carrie with a C. That's the male Carrie, like the little homage to Cary Grant. I like that they did that. I definitely think that he is going to be the one that we are going to see where he is going to die. He's going to go in season 3. We definitely heard him mention it. And now that they've switched around, I think we will see her age a little bit more, but not as much. It seems like he has definitely aged a lot more from season 1 to season 2. I don't know if that's just the way it looked visually to me, or if that's something they did on purpose. But yeah, I definitely think that they're trying to get off on some of the older casts. Maybe, I don't know. kind of going into maybe some New Mutants sort of thing.
Right. I almost think the opposite now that we've talked about it and I think about it. With the Carrie aging so fast, I wonder if her body can take it. She might die. We were talking about this whole foreshadowing of the male Carrie dying. What if the other Carrie dies? We've already seen how devastated he is when she hurts. Would it kill him if she dies? That's kind of what I think's gonna happen here. But that depends how you're looking at the series, whether this is in David's head or whether this is in reality or a mix of the two. So that's what we're going to try to sift through as well today. The next character we're going to talk about is the tragic tale of Clark Debussy. And he just seems to be trying to help, but I have to say, this man has courage. This man has real courage. He knows David could kill him at any second, yet he tells him the truth. He tells him what's up, and he speaks his mind. I have to say, I really respect this man. What do you think is going to happen to him this season, season 3? BBM?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. So one of the officers with Division 3, he has 0 abilities. Like, he's just so fragile that next thing you know, he can actually just die. And like, would I really care? No. Like, he's like one of my least favorite, but not as like least favorite compared to Sid though. But like, if they really don't like do anything more with his character, it'll be a bit disappointing. Like, I get what they were doing with him with season 1. It's like, okay, we need to put like a face for Division 3, and they did Clark. But in season 2, it's like any memorable scenes involving him. It's just, mainly him talking with Sid about, hey, just one, off thing you can do in your relationship. You can pretty much end the world with David. And then again, like with him delivering the tuning fork. But other than that, it's like, what else could you like show? So if there's like a chance, if he actually is in season 3, hopefully they'll do something with his character. If not, then they really could just replace him with any character at all. Like, he was even like more meaningful in the first season. We actually got his backstory in the season finale though. What do you think about Clark, Rhee?
Well, yeah, he was pretty much just about, he was there for like a little girl chat and just to give David a little bit of a hard time, I guess, to kind of, yeah, we're still watching you, you're not getting off this too easy, I hope they really do more with him. I'd like to see a little more of what exactly is Division 3's agenda. And I think he would be the best for that insight. He's been our first look into Division 3 and kind of what got the mutants all involved with them and kind of joining forces with them. So I think he's going to be our best chance to see what they're all about. So hopefully they'll expand further on that. Otherwise, yeah, I think he kind of is expendable. I don't see them just putting him on there for no reason, though. I think he has to have more substance to him than that. I want to say really quick about the Carrie thing, where you were talking about the reverse sort of drain thing going on, Johnny. I think you might have a point there, actually. Just look at how fast she got that gray streak on her hair, the female Carrie. There might be some kind of accelerated process there, and I could see that being shattering if he did lose her. That'd be a nice little twist. I kind of like to see that now. Thanks for putting that in my head, actually.
Well, you actually helped me with that. You were going to add something, BBM?
Yeah, like just from what Rhee said, it's like only thing I can see him actually doing anything is possibly like recruit more mutants to the cause to find David now that he's like the new big bad. So maybe, when the Vision was like, capturing mutants or something, maybe they had a deal with some of them and you're like, you know what, you help us. I'm really kind of like thinking of Suicide Squad in a sense right now. And I don't want to cross Marvel and DC.
Please. Well, don't bring that movie up either. Thank you. Great soundtrack, like, by the way.
Yeah, but it's like you can pretty much do at that point. It's like that's like one thing I can actually see him doing in season 3 with, because it's like we have Fukuyama, but it's like that's like the only mutant he pretty much introduced. But other than that, like he probably could have introduced like more mutants that Division 3 could have been using. And that would have actually been something useful for that character in season 3.
We don't even know if he's the one that introduced Admiral Fukuyama or not. I mean, he could have came up from Timberland.
True, but at least just introduce us to like us, the audience. So, like, I don't think like again, like you said, like he wasn't there. Introduced like division. Excuse me. So I think it was that older gentleman that came to Fukuyama when he was a kid or something, or a teen or a young adult in that flashback.
Yeah.
But yeah, but at least just to introduce like to the audience and at least the to Sid and the rest of the crew.
He's definitely a striker type character. I can't remember. I know there's a comic book reference for him, but yeah, definitely. And I can see him being an unlikely human protagonist and possibly dying, saving a lot of people. That would be pretty redeeming for him, unless they make it cheesy. You know, they'd have to write it right. But I could see that happening because his character has been built up so far. I mean, his backstory, everything he's been through, everything he's dealt with, he's so persistent that he's going to make an impact in this story in some way. Whether he's a personality in David's mind that's going to take control and be a rational personality, or this is a linear timeline and he's just going to somehow save mutants and mankind from David, or at least help, in my opinion.
But if he does die, at least have the other side of his like body like burn, so it could just be equal. If not, then I don't know. Then it'll be like more work when they like fixing his body for the funeral, as if they bother to do an open casket or not cremated. Who knows?
Like a Scarface going on.
Exactly.
Did you guys thought about the whole hive mind thing with Division 3 yet? Has that like dawned on you?
Yeah, well, there's definitely a hive mind with the androids. We know that's going on, and with the weirwood tree, or I forgot what the actual name of that is. Do you remember?
With what?
I think that was just simply. I don't think they even gave like an actual name, but if so, I'd probably have to look back. But that was like the mainframe with Admiral Fukuyama. That's what I know it as. That they hooked up autonomy. You want to transition to autonomy since we're like on that subject?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Dog Sidious for all your Star Wars needs. Go subscribe to him. Thanks, Bud, for come checking it out. Just would like to give a shout out to him. He had a stream earlier. It was very good. Very good. Do you have any more thoughts on Debussy, or you want to go ahead and segue into Lenny/Amy? We'll segue into Lenny/Amy. The silent treatment it is. All right, let's go into it. What do you think is going to happen to Lenny and Amy? I see some type of separation happening. Amy is forcing her way. She's still in there, as we can see. I really don't know. What do you see as far as her character arc for season 3? Because they didn't build on it too much in season 2. Oh, we'll let Rhee go first this time. Ladies first.
All right. Well, okay. My favorite character is Lenny, as far as, other than David, of course. So I'm going to say, first of all, we are definitely going to see what abilities Lenny has. That's going to be my first one. Because we haven't yet. And if she was in Clockworks, like I was talking to you guys about, I definitely think that she is a mutant and does have some abilities. And she was in David's mind too, so definitely think that. And you guys ever go on the Gravitron at the fair? I think we're gonna see something like that happen, where we're gonna see like a spinning sort of thing, but psychically, and it's gonna separate Lenny and Amy, and that's gonna be something that David does, because those are the two people he loves the most. So yeah, I can definitely see something like that happening in season 3. I'm most excited definitely to see what Lenny can do, though. That'd be my biggest thrill, I guess. And I kind of want to see her get a little bit of get back against Farouk and Sydney.
Yeah, I just want to bring up a funny question from Milt the Troll, and we love so much. Does anyone think Legion's Uncle Juggernaut is going to show up? What do you think, Rhee? Do you think Juggernaut's gonna show up in season 3?
No, we already got him in Deadpool. They're not gonna give us to us twice. We had to wait how many movies just to get him then?
All right, so did you give your thoughts yet on Lenny, BBM?
Oh no, I was just waiting for my round. First,
go ahead.
Just like what I said to Mel, it depends on like who got the rights for Juggernaut. Like he'll be seen like out of place if they actually just put him in Legion though. But if they do it, hopefully it'll just make sense. Just slide him in there as something, maybe as a tool for Dave or anything, or maybe they even can have an interaction with it. Because even in Deadpool, he even references like, "Oh yeah, I have like a freaking brother who's that freaking mutant." So it's like it's interesting if they actually will go that route. But for Lenny, I can pretty much see, a triangle, a love triangle between Lenny, Sid, and David for that season. And it's still kind of like, they never gave us like a answer of whether or not, okay, is, Amy like still there? Because even the Shadow King is like, he's still using a part of, Lenny. So it's like, when we actually did see Amy like talking to Lenny, it was that could have even been either the actual Amy or that could have just been Farouk making sure that Lenny goes back to see David and quote unquote help David, just like manipulate him. So it's like I'm still up even if like Amy is still alive or dead.
Yeah, because we would have to go the route of Melanie being. See, we know Farouk usually isn't interested in any minds that aren't mutants that can't help him. But we know that Amy definitely helped him this season, whether it was not Amy, but Melanie. Amy incidentally helped, but Lenny was helping. I think Lenny was being Lenny. She's a definite personality, and it's possible Lenny is one of the personality in Legion David's mind, but we'll get to that later. Yeah. Any other thoughts on what you think is going to happen with Lenny and Amy? Do you see Amy getting killed off or Spirit getting killed off? I know David was so concerned with that and getting her back. Is he going to try to time travel, you think? Again? Or, I mean, he seems desperate.
Well, he can warp reality, so I guess if he really wanted to, he could kind of just, yeah, I guess he could. He could do something. He could do something to fix it. He could pretty much just poof and create a whole new Amy if he really wanted to. I kind of even went as far as questioning if she's real or just another persona in his mind even. Yeah, I'm still on the fence about that one even. I'm totally not completely sure that she was a real person. At least as far as currently. Let me put it that way. I mean, I'm sure she was real at some point. I just don't think she's currently a real person.
Yeah, I can see where you're going with that. It's kind of yet to be seen in my mind, but I agree because wasn't it Benny before, the actual real person that David was on the streets with? So everything we see inside of Clockworks, which is the mental facility that David's in from the beginning of the show, could possibly be in his mind. We'll delve into that a little bit later. Let's segue into Ptonomy. And is he completely dead? If so, what's he going to do inside that mainframe? Because he's going to have a big role in the monk in there. So we'll have to talk about the monk still being in there as well. What are your thoughts on that, BBM?
So yeah, like he's not truly dead. What they did was like, they uploaded his mind into the mainframe. But even then, it's like, are they gonna find another mutant to heal his body, which is like my prediction there, and then just retransfer his mind back into his body? But if they just can't do that, then it's possible that since he can actually communicate with the, how you pronounce their name, the Vermilion, which is pretty much those androids that Admiral Admiral Fukuyama, I know I mispronounced his name probably, but he communicates through those androids. So it's like, if Latime was able to speak through one of them, it's like, why can't they just make an android version of him and he can just speak through them? But I don't guess like he can may or may not be able to even use his like memory abilities anymore. If he can't, then you just, resume back to being the muscle, because in season 1 we see him like, using a gun. So I'm guessing he was again not only just dealing with memories, but he was like another muscle to the group. So he can just be that. But if not, then he can possibly just return and just, use his mind manipulation and stuff through the android. So it's like multiple possibilities there. What do you think, Rhee?
Yeah, Rhee, because it's arguable. Like the way he died was very interesting. Psychic parasite exploding out from, it almost didn't seem within reality, in my opinion. What do you think, Rhee? And
she must have stepped away for something, and maybe you could answer, John.
Yeah, we're gonna figure out a little more what's going on with the monk and how this disease got spread in the beginning. Whether it is a disease of the mind. The monk seems to be trying to warn people, and it seems like Admiral Fukuyama absorbed the monk, or the monk actually went into Admiral Fukuyama. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with that. And I'm not sure what Patanomy is going to do, but I think he's like another pair of eyes inside Fukuyama's head that can run around. Does that make sense? Instead of having one person running around in the mainframe, so to speak, you have another person helping. And I believe whatever Patanomy sees at this point, Admiral Fukuyama sees as well. And Rhee, are you back yet? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm back. So you think they're both in there? You think Admiral Fukuyama's still in there?
I think he is basically the mainframe. That's what they put in his brain. That's why he can't talk anymore. That's why he's in that head brace.
Well, he was until the monk like yanked the cords out of him. Remember when the monk disconnected him, and then he was just kind of laying there dead on the floor, and then that's when they went and hooked Tommy up.
Yeah, I think he's more connected with the monk than I think. I think he's in there for sure. I think it's a way they took Patanomy there for some way to resurrect him or help Admiral Fukuyama, in a sense. Does that make sense? Like, I can't understand what's going on and try to tell you, but yeah, go ahead with your thoughts on what's going to happen.
Okay. The best way that I can explain how I feel about that whole situation right there is like an upgrade to your computer. I feel like that's kind of what they did, is they unplugged the old computer, and Economy is a nice new computer, and they just upgraded, and the old memory is still in there. Don't get it wrong, it's still in the hard drive somewhere, but now we've got this whole nice new system and all that nice little memory work that he does. Think of all the memories he's picked up along the way from all the mutants, actually, not just his own memories. He remembered before his own birth even.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just going to add to your point that could his powers be amplified this way? And you know how he doesn't even have to touch someone to go into their memories? He just has to be close to them. Do you think he'll be able to use his power while looking through the mainframe at some point, or learn how to use it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it'll like reach out kind of like in a almost a cerebral sort of way, just because of how again, I think of that just whole situation in like a computer way. Is okay, you think of them little AI chicks running around, little mustaches, as like little wireless units just walking around, and they're picking up the video and the audio, and they're watching and listening, and they see everything. As it said before, that we see everything, we know everything, we hear everything. Well, now that's him that's gathering all that information. So imagine when he incorporates that with his mutant abilities, just how far that can expand and work. I mean, we've already seen where he just tapped into it before, you know, and reached out to David, you know, just, hey, this is where you need to go and what you need to do. And that was before he realized what he could really do. So he's just now starting to gain the scope of his powers, basically. So yeah, that'd be really exciting to kind of see what he does. But I think of it in computer terms.
So let's kind of. Would you want to segue into Vermilion, or you want to save that for closer to David and go to Oliver and Melanie, and they're 3 years later at the
We're
timeline?
talking about the Vermilion like right now.
Right. Well, I know we're always talking about the Vermilion in a sense. So, yeah, go ahead. Give me your thoughts on that. Just go at it. I know y'all been talking. So
yeah, like even like the definition of like the vermilion, like a bright red pigment, is it? So it's like even like just hearing bright red, I'm like, wait a minute. Like the show has always been having red associated with the Shadow King to the point I'm like, wait a minute, can I even trust the Vermilion right now? Like that was like my first initial thoughts on it, but it seems like they're just still again under the control of Fukuyama. But it's like again, you're just speaking through them, so it's like after like reading that, I now have to like rewatch the scenes with the Vermilion to see, okay, is anything actually consistent? Like, is this actually Admiral Fukuyama, or is this Farouk? Because it seems like even like within this year when Dave was away, it seems like Shadow King was like still, his influence was still just manipulating everyone. So I don't know. It's even tougher.
Talk about how the nightclub has no walls. Throw that in. I'm just throwing that in there, and go ahead, Rhee, or both of you. Go for it.
Well, you just kind of did. So yeah, the nightclub has no walls where they're dancing, doing their little dance number. Nice little dance sequence. I really love the beats and just the whole soundtrack for this show. Something I want to bring up about the music really quick is you will notice a lot of times we have like some older, usually 70s music, beginning of the show. At the end, it's always something newer. They're always trying to confuse you with the timelines. But nope, we see Amy with an iPhone. So don't be confused. Don't let them get in your head like that. She has an iPhone. David has a flip phone. So yeah. As far as Vermilion go, but the red thing, this is another thing I was talking to you guys about before. I've noticed that where David is not so much blue anymore, and as he's becoming Legion, he's transitioning to red. So I don't know so much about the Shadow King anymore, as it's more about being about David. So that makes me wonder if they're going to be in his influence in his pocket now. And for fact, going back to autonomy, how much will he be, kind of under his influence, because they technically are his minions, if you think about it.
Right. Yeah, it's insane. If you start to pay attention to the shirt colors, then you have to look at it a whole different way. What are your thoughts on that, BBM? As far as I know you said something about the Vermilion, but do you think I'm going to try to segue into Sydney here, and whether you think she could possibly be Cindy from the comic books, and also what her role would be next season, and if we'll find out her true motives.
I think with Sydney, it's like after like rewatching that season finale, it's like they transitioned from like Dave was in the room saying, I'm a good person, I deserve to be loved. I'm a good person, I deserve to be loved. And then like it transitions to like the day where we're seeing Sid appear for the first time. So it's like, wait a minute, did he just create Sydney right there and there? And I think that's what the comic books as well. Like, wasn't she like part of the personality that was inside David or not? I'm not 100% sure. Is that what it is with the comic books with her? I'm not 100% sure there. But if so, that could be like one comparison there. But with Sid's like her role in next season, I'm just guessing it's just like again her trying to like find David, and I'm guessing it's going to be her as going to be like the leading person because it looks like with Melanie and Oliver like no part of it anymore, and even like with Ptolemy, we're not sure if he's going to actually even come back. Because pretty much going to be just Sid being the leader, with the carries as like the brain, one the other with the muscle. I'm guessing they're really going to just try to put her as even like a more of a lead role than ever in this next season. What you think, Rhee?
My favorite subject is what I think. Okay, now I'll go back to what you were saying about the comic books. It broke up a little bit, so I'll just say, Cindy in the comic books was like the little rebellious teen chick, and she was pyrokinetics. That was her abilities. She was like one of the three main ones, along with the crap, I forgot his name now, but the terrorist guy and Jack Wayne. I know Jack Wayne's
And
name.
Jamel, I believe.
There we go.
Kamari.
Yep.
Jamel
Yep.
Kamari.
Yep. Thank you, Johnny. And but yeah, and she was like the rebellious teen chick. She was kind of badass. I liked her in the comics, but yeah, Sydney, she is just a trifling ass. Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Can I just throw in that she is always beside him? She immediately says she wants to be his boyfriend. We first see her in Clockworks. You have the pyrotechnics at the pool, which correlates to Cindy in the comic books. I just want to throw that in and keep going with it.
Oh, I like that you threw in that pyro part. Yeah, I'd like that the part about Clockwork, she comes up to him in that room too and approaches him. And for fact, if you go back and watch that, I still stand by that. I think she's the only other real person in that room. I don't think the doctor's real. I don't think anyone else in that group was real, but her. I think she can psychically, she can see everybody too. She can get inside David's mind and all. But that's just part of her abilities that she has. But no, I think she was there for David or because of David. I don't know, just something. She's trifling. Just no, I don't trust her. I don't like her. And this whole season, it's been about it was talking about the delusion and and it being planted and everything, and it even kind of told us that future Sydney told us it all started as an idea. So she even admitted that, okay, yep, I was wrong in so many words, So she knows that she screwed up, she was wrong, and yeah, I don't like her. I don't even like her being compared to Cindy because I liked Cindy when in the comic book, and she was just a cool chick. And yeah, and this chick is on the show is literally just. I think she's the reason for David's whole downfall and what's going to end up turning him, because she's playing with his emotions. You don't play with someone's emotions like that. You just don't do that. And she's faking trust, she's faking love, and it's just all a big deception. And I don't like her. I gotta stop because she's gonna trigger.
We all feel the same way that you do, Rhee. But I have only one quick question since we're on the topic of Sid. It's like, do you guys think that Rhee's gonna get at least like more future Sid, or just at least one scene or so? Just having a time between David talking to her, because ever since the whole like revelation that future Sid whole thing was like, oh, there's gonna be a big day in the future, and we pretty much need Farouk alive to like stop him or whatever it is, and then it just reveals that it's actually David. So you think that we're gonna get like a scene where we're gonna see again future Sid and David just like confronting her like, wait, all this time it was me?
Oh, I hope so. I would love that.
Yeah, I mean, Sydney's my favorite character. I just love her so much. No, I actually did like her character in the first season. I really did like her character. The second season threw me off, but if my thoughts are right, and the second season is mostly in David's head, then it makes a lot of sense. And then could it be possible she died in Clockworks in the first season, and he's still just seeing her? There's, I don't know. I can lose myself in this moment. Any final thoughts on Sydney before we talk about Oliver and Melanie, I guess, and their little ice cube?
I wish she would have stayed in that hole.
Oh, those are like expand on that. But yeah, I wonder if we're actually gonna see her lose her arm though, because I think now that the future has changed, like, will she ever end up losing the arm, or will she end up keeping it? It's like one thing I'm like interested in. So like until this season ends, I'm just gonna be looking at that arm and like, okay, it's gonna be chopped off. What's gonna happen?
Oh, yo, you just made me think about something. The whole when Farouk told her too, he's like, she's not in the future you're trying to erase. He told her that, so she might not even be there. She might be gone.
Because the way I'm thinking of it, it's like just like when that multiple, world episode, it's like way how that one David's like, oh, it's what decision, creates these more branches and so on and so forth. But it looks like that future Sid pretty much destroyed that one decision, and now it's completely something new. And because of that, it's like, okay, if it's like a new timeline right now, does that one world just, obliterated, or does it still exist?
Well, there's the multiverse and the multiple dimensions. Yeah, it still exists on a different plane of a different dimension. But whatever happened, we saw the change. We saw when Lenny missed her arm and hit the actual bullet in midair that was about to hit David. I think that's when she was going to lose her arm at that point in time, because getting hit with that 50 caliber, which it might even have been more than that, would explode your arm off, no doubt. So I think that's when it got changed. But at what point it got changed, I couldn't tell you. Do you guys have an idea?
For me, I think it has to be the moment where Sid just interrupts the death of Farouk, because it seems like the whole plan back in the future, what David's plan actually just came from fruition, where he actually does kill the Shadow King. But since he's still alive, because Sid interfered, that's like the whole thing. I think like future Sid was wanted to really just talk to present Sid, but because you can't really see your past self, or time paradox and whatnot, she just didn't talk to Sid. Instead, she captured David and was hoping, because she knows her own self, like, wait a minute, myself actually started thinking about this logically, like, okay, why is David missing? There has to be more to it. And she just pretty much learned through the Shadow King when he was talking to her, talking about, oh, this big bad in the future, it's Sid, it's David. So that's how I look at it. What do you think, Rhee?
I thought it was going to be when she went through the floor. That's when it was going to be, but that was her other arm that got stuck in the floor. And then, I didn't think it was when she got shot with the gun. I didn't think that. That never even occurred to me. I'm going to have to get back and watch that now. Yeah, get off Sydney, because I'm starting to think bad things about her now.
All right.
I got to get in contact with Mel, since he's the science man in the community, to see with the distance between, Lenny with her gun to freaking Sid, will that arm actually blow off? Like, come on.
Right. See, to me, it doesn't seem like it would blow off from that far. It seems like too far of a distance for it to blow an arm off. Like, yeah, I could see it just putting a little hole in it maybe, but not to blow it off. It just doesn't seem like it was that kind of bullet,
Mm-hmm. So I don't want to put logic into this, knowing it's like a superhero show where they define logic.
What do you mean that kind of bullet? If it was a 50 caliber bullet, that arm's going to explode.
It would?
What? I didn't hear what you said about the bullet. You must have.
I don't know what kind of caliber bullet it is. I don't play them shooting games, and I ain't out there trying to shoot. To me, that looks like something you'd go shoot a deer with.
Yeah, to me.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty interesting how it was pulled out of the suitcase as well. It's about 5 feet long, and the suitcase is probably 8 inches deep. So you have this conundrum there. But they say that everything's distorted in that area of space and time, so that's why.
The way how I see it, it's like it could be any type of weapon in the situation that you need it for. I'm guessing just for Lenny's situation, it just came out to like a rifle. That's how I look at that weapon. That's like the first thing I come. It could also be, you know, like you're saying, you know, with the distortions with the environment, or maybe just the box itself. It can be like any other type of weapon, but that's how I saw it.
So yeah,
I'd like to,
go ahead. Scream
I was
about
gonna say,
Sydney.
I'd like to see. Yeah, oh no, I was gonna say I'd like to see Lenny like be the one to take her arm off. Though that'd be great, just because you know, look out for your boy, girl.
Well, she was trying to. She was a little busy getting high, but it happens from time to time with Lenny. The blue is what it is. The blue, it's always blue. That's something we also got to pay attention to. What is always blue? So didn't you say
It's not always
David
blue.
had 3
It was red.
shirts?
It was red.
Oh, that's fine. I'm trying to trigger you. Hold on. So we got the blue, and now I'm thinking the blue. I don't know. I'm going to try to segue to Oliver and Melanie, and they're in the ice cube, and I believe they have been manipulated by Farouk to go hiding from David. I do believe David has caused mucho destruction, but I don't know exactly the details because it seems like Melanie and Oliver almost tricked themselves because we know Melanie was still pretty much, you know, they're the type to run away. They've already did it before. And they're guilty in a sense. They both helped Farouk, and they don't want to face the wrath of Legion, in my opinion. So, what do you think is going to happen next season with Melanie and Oliver? Do you have any idea? Well, do you have any idea what's going to happen with them and how they will end up in that ice cube in the astral plane?
Well, it seems like I don't know how the direction of the show is going to be because I'm still think that they're going to do like a 3-year time skip of just trying to find David, but they're going to fail. And like their last result is to going to Melanie and Oliver to like drag them back into it because they kind of like need someone powerful enough to at least combat David. Again, they could use Farouk because it seems like, again, they're playing into like, well, I don't want to get into it since we're not talking about Farouk though, but when we do, I'll transition to that. But it's like they still need someone powerful, and it doesn't look like Professor Xavier is coming out like onto the show. Like even though I hope and fingers crossed, maybe next or just the final season itself, but they still need someone, and like that could pretty much be Oliver right now. And even like name drops like, "Oh, I do I defeat you," but it's like we never even see that happen. We see Oliver being manipulated, helping out the Shadow King just like Melanie, but we never got to see him like truly defeat the Shadow King. But if he says like he does know a way, then I'm guessing he could use that same way to try to stop David, at least like bring him back to like the good side or so. Well, that's like how I see with Melanie and Oliver.
I'm going to give my 2 cents and then have Rhee bring it up with all her knowledge she has been studying so hard. I think Oliver is going to try to help. But in my opinion, we'll talk about this in a few minutes. I think Xavier is going to send someone to help. Now, I know in the comic books, he's the one that tries to go into David's mind and stop him at one point, and a few of the timelines. And David does destroy it. David also tries to go back in time, I believe, to save everything. So I think Oliver's going to try to help, but there's going to be... I believe there's going to be blame cast on both Oliver and Melanie next season. And I don't, and we're going to, Farouk's right after this, so I'll go ahead and say kind of what I think is going to happen with Farouk. I don't think he's going to help David, help against David at all, really. I actually think he's going to be like just another bad guy, and we're going to have to deal with 2 bad guys while David's struggling with his inner self. Because Farouk is a very selfish person, and I don't really see him trying to even really care about saving the world because he can create his own reality. What do you think, Rhee?
Which one? I just got back.
So we're talking about Oliver and the cube and Melanie and what they may play into and whether Oliver's going to help get David, and then we're kind of segueing into what Farouk's role will be next season.
Okay. Well, okay. Oliver and Melanie, I think they're just kind of writing them off, so to speak. Well, okay, Oliver, I think they're going to backseat, but I think we haven't seen the last of him. I can't see that they'll just completely take him off, considering they just like really brought him in season 2, and he knows Farouk's weakness and all. I'd kind of like to see that play out. So yeah, but how they did that 3 years later, it seems like they just were kind of stashing the bodies away from David almost too. I don't know if it was like that for you guys too, but at least that's the impression I got. I don't see them hiding them. I don't know. It might have been from Farouk too, but because they were talking about how they kind of remembered helping him. But I don't know. I just got the feeling after what Melanie's part was in exposing David like that to Sydney and causing the problem for them, that it's going to be from hiding them from David too. But I do think that Oliver will definitely play a role in Farouk's final defeat, I guess you could say.
Right.
Or yeah.
Right. That was kind of to my point, what I was saying when you cut off. Like, yeah, I think Farouk's definitely going to be kind of out for himself and not really care about anyone else. And also Oliver and Melanie, I believe, are going to be manipulated by Farouk just to take them out of the picture, because Oliver is going to try to kill Farouk. He already told Farouk that, and I believe Farouk's a pretty cautious person or being. BBM, any thoughts?
Yeah, it's obvious that they're gonna like. They have to like. I'm not gonna say it's obvious because they just like could possibly like write out Farouk, but it looks like it'll be a waste of like a good star actor of from Farouk like to be like no longer in this season. So again, like I was like kind of like hinting with my Oliver and Melanie answer. It seems like it's gonna be more of the enemy of my enemy is a threat in this situation with them. And when we see the trend of like with season 1, we thought like it was going to be Division 3 being the bad guy along with Farouk, but they transitioned to Division B being an ally. And if they're going to continue the same thing, it looks like Farouk in some shape or form is going to be an ally for them, because if Farouk can't even help them in a situation, they definitely have to like rely on Oliver and Melanie unless they introduce another powerful mutant out of nowhere. But even then, it's like it can still be, Farouk still having, his sentimentals for David, because even though he's this all-powerful god, he can still be lonely. So it's like he's gonna like try to team up with David, but fails. So it's like, what? Let me somehow like defeat him or something, or at least help out the enemy. So at least it can just be back to like the way it should be, the norm.
Now that you said that, it makes me think that he's going to use Division 3 to try to help take down David, because he wants David's body. He wants that power. Now, even when he takes David's body, he will have David's companionship, because David's mind will be inside of him. But if he actually ever completely gains control of David's body, will it be too overwhelming for him with all of the personalities in there, if it's like it is in the comics? Go ahead.
Well, for the show wise, it seems like he can able to control it since he's been in his body for at least 30-something years or so.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's fully taken over. So yeah, good point. What do you think, Rhee?
I don't think he can handle it. Here's the thing: they all fight for control and assume control for a little while, but no one's ever fully got the whole scope of it all and everything. At least I don't think they do. Yeah, I don't think he could handle it. I think he wants the power of all the others, but I don't think he could handle the responsibility of it, the madness of it. I think he likes the idea of it better.
Yeah, I can see where you're going for that. So let's see. With that said, are they going to bring in another powerful mutant? We know Xavier is we're pretty sure Xavier is David's father. It's that way in the comics. They've hinted at it so hard. Are we going to see him? Maybe not next season, but I do think at some point in the series we will. Do you think he'll send any mutants next season to help with the situation? Because I do believe it's going to get bad. And Rhea, or go ahead, BBM.
Yeah, that would pretty much be like the next solution is for, some mutant come out of nowhere and be like, oh, your father said me. and this was like his message or whatever. If not, I would say maybe the Hellfire Club could possibly, you know, do something with an assistance. But even then, I see, since like Fox's like The Gifted is doing Hellfire Club, I guess that's like out the window, that they can't have both Hellfire Club, you know, being mentioned and dealing with them there, and also helping out with the show. It could possibly be done, but again, like Rhee was mentioning earlier with the whole timeline with this show, it's like, are we in this timeline? Are we in that timeline? Could we do something? Like, for all we know, like The Gifted could literally be next door. For all we know. But it's interesting to see. Like, what do you think, Rhee?
Oh, I think we definitely got some mutants coming. And I want to say too, where you kept talking about death earlier, I kept thinking about Mr. Death. I'm just saying. So yeah, I've got my little mutant radar. It's just like on and just spinning around, just waiting to see who's going to show up first. Is rather the way to put it. One thing to remember when you're watching this, it's not like just watching like Avengers or X-Men movie or anything like that. And remember, this is still Avengers world. I'm just saying, I don't expect to see them on there, but it is their world.
Connected.
Yeah. But I don't expect any of them. But I do expect to see some of the X-Men universe on there. And it's just a matter of who first. I definitely expect to see some of Xavier on there. I honestly expect to see Rogue and Destiny on there. And it's just going to, and Psylocke, honestly, it's just going to be a matter of who else is going to be on there and when. And yeah, I'm just ready for them to start bringing them in. I'm already trying to go back and check just for little Easter eggs of ones I didn't catch the first time around. What about S.H.I.E.L.D.? Do you think S.H.I.E.L.D. will be present on here?
I don't think S.H.I.E.L.D. will be present on here. I think they got. Well, I don't know. That is an interesting thought. Now, Psylocke, I think the girl Carrie might represent Psylocke when we saw David in his so-called future parallel timelines. Now, it's very reminiscent of Psylocke running through David's mind and slicing people apart. And actually, she was warned not to because it could cause David to become more unstable. But yeah, it would be awesome to see her in that psionic blade, and that would be fantastic. The way they do the visuals, we could see that. We could see that, and it would be awesome. What do you think?
I kind of got like what was her name, Danielle Moonstar sort of feel from Carrie. It's just a Native American feel from her. But I remember Danielle Moonstar too. You know, I mean, I kind of like the sword better than the bow and arrow thing. But you know, I don't know unless it's Ollie Clean, but that's just me. But I don't know. I don't know. And I just have different ways that I see Psylocke too in my head than Carrie. I don't know. And I don't know. That's kind of interesting. I did think of her because of the sword, but that was only because of the sword. I mean, that was literally the only reason. And she don't really have the psychic powers or anything going on. And that's what I associate with Psylocke, you know?
Yeah.
One, I gotta ask you, like, what was your question here? Because
sorry,
I was
okay.
like, I'm still thinking of the where we was talking about Shield, and I'm thinking like they can't do Shield since like Disney owns Shield.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
And that's another reason why I think that they did Division 3, because like kind of like to replace the whole Shield aspect.
Right, and just we were basically saying who you think you'll see as far as new types of mutants, or whether any X-Men would be sent, whatever. Just any of your thoughts.
Oh yeah,
on
like we were like mentioning before. I'm not sure if it was in earlier this stream or a previous one about the New Mutants. Like they probably could easily just tie them into their show, really, because it wouldn't be that much with rights or anything, in my opinion. So like whatever like mutants like they even like talk about there, it could be in this one. But even then, there's like a whole cast of like X-Men to the point that they could easily just like bring them in. So I can't really think of any really. They can't be like those main anyone that's in like the movies right now, or even in the show The Gifted. But they can possibly bring like.
When is New Mutants dropping? Do you know?
That's dropping in 2019.
April.
I think it is in April. Yeah, of
Yep.
2019.
Could they use the show as a platform to bounce the movie? Do you know what I mean?
Because like with David alone, and they're going to like a horror aspect of that movie. Like David's like kind of like perfect if they even like bother go that route. But who knows?
What do you think, Rhee?
Rhee?
Sorry. FX. I wanted to say, Disney done bought them and everything now too, so they're all owned by the same company now. Where you was just looking at that. So it is possible to have everybody in the same universe now. That's why they did that, so that they could actually put them technically in the same universe. So anything is possible if you believe, Marie. Believe in magic. Another thing I wanted to say too, speaking of X-Men, is in the comics at least, that they have Legion has saved the X-Men, and X-Men has saved Legion on multiple times, multiple different occasions. So I mean, it's kind of, I expect it to happen. And the whole reason that they were created was because Charles Xavier, when he went up against Baruch in the first place, that's what inspired him to go out and create X-Men. So just a strong influence of that alone, I think, is just grounds for them to make an appearance. And it doesn't have to be the exact same people that they cast in the movies. They can just spin a whole new cast of characters for the TV show alone, you know? Or just mesh them together, like how we were just talking about Carrie a minute ago, and, you know, into whole new characters.
Right, BBM, you had a thought?
No, just mainly disagreeing with Rhee. Like again, they could just take it's like the X-Men. I don't know, like you can't use at least the first class still, but it's like as long as like Professor Xavier, it's been like what? Again, like David's like 30 years or so. Age, like he's 20 or 30, so I'm not even sure. I think he's like 30 or whatever. But it's like within that time, like first meeting, like interacting with Rob, and then he creates the X-Men. I'm guessing he has like multiple teams by now, or at least like students that he can actually send on a mission. And I'm just guessing that they're not going to be called the X-Men, or they're going to be called like another team or something that the show can just create from their own canon.
Maybe, but they have mentioned the professor and showed the X-Men symbol.
Mm-hmm.
X-Men symbol. So that does lead me to think that they'll show X-Men characters that won't be in the movies. Does that make sense?
Because they do the same thing with the Gifted right now, because they're doing like the whole Mutant Underground, and so far we haven't seen like any like X-Men like members from like the movies or so, but they're saying like, oh, we have this group, we're known as the X-Men Underground. So with this show, they can just create like another group, and they're just being assisting the actual team of the X-Men, but they're all doing some other mission.
Right. Anything to add, Rhee, before we segue into talking about David, hashtag Mr. Legion?
I'm just kind of curious if, because I kind of was wondering why Legion was not in some of the X-Men movies, and I'm wondering if that's, kind of why they omitted them, is if they planned on making this TV show a few years ago, and it was just, they were thinking ahead about it. But if you kind of go by that theory, then we did see, a few of them in the movies that we can, discredit, unless you start going into the multiple timelines of X.
Can I say that as far as Legion goes, that there's no way they can make a movie. David's far too complex of a character for even a 3-hour movie. We're still figuring him out, and we know all this backstory, and we've had, 17 episodes or something of that nature, 17, 18 episodes, and we're still trying to figure him out. So it would be hard for them to make a movie, is why I think they didn't make a movie of this. But I do think they're going to segue movies from this, or spring stuff off of this, in my opinion.
Right. And I agree there, but we could have at least, just seen him. I mean, we didn't have to know him, we didn't have to get to know him in the movies, but they could have did a visual cameo. Because, I mean, come on, comic book fans be like, ooh, I know who that is. I would know looking. I'm sure you guys would know, too, because you know the comic books enough. I know I was like, come on, we were just talking about Juggernaut. I was psyched. I was waiting. How many X-Men movies? just for Juggernaut. And it took how many before we finally got him? We had to wait till Deadpool 2. So, yeah. And I know I look in, like, even in Avengers, I was looking in the cells for the different, the different hero, whatever you want to call them, just different tunes I knew, So I can see them doing something like that, just drop a cameo in. That's all you need. Sometimes that's it.
Right. You have anything to add, BBM?
No.
Okay.
Talk the whole conversation off at this point.
So here's my question. David is Legion. At some point, now we're going to just talk about David in general, but I want to throw this question out there for you to ponder. How much of this, in your opinion, is happening in David's mind, and how much is in reality? And is all of season 2 him freaking out inside that ball? Is one of my questions, because we have this year time gap with David went to the club once and that's it. So something's not right there. And we know that's definitely in his mind. So all your thoughts on David, basically. Legion. This should take another hour, so hang with us. I'm just joking.
Well, I wish like some of this stuff is actually real, but like certain players are just like created through David's ability. Like this whole Sid situation could be just created through David with the whole situation where I brought up earlier about, I'm a good person, I deserve to be loved, and like Sid appears. Like everything else seems to be okay, but he's just like, again, just inserting like memories or something just to manipulate people's minds. Because the way out autonomy is like, you really can't just trust your past, especially mainly when when we finally get the introduction of like David into like the whole, Summerland situation there. But hopefully like we're not going to get an episode where everything is just like, again, like in the mind of Dave this whole time, because I don't want like, that would be like almost like a Westworld situation. Like, okay, so this whole time all this stuff wasn't real. Like I don't want like like Wizard of Oz situation where it was just like all behind like a screen with little fireworks and whatnot. But I don't know. Like I honestly want to talk about it. Rhee, what you think?
I'll go ahead and say my point real quick, just in case Rhee dropped on us. I think certain parts of this are in his mind, and they're trying to go in. Someone's trying to go in David's mind and help him, possibly like the comics, because that's the only way you can even get to David is by getting to the real David and trying to talk sense into him, and actually not destroying but manipulating the other, Jack Wayne and Jamel into, tricking them so David can come forward. It's a weird, tricky situation, and I don't know if it's like that whole. See, what throws me and what makes me think so much of this is in his head is the whole multiverse scenario where he does all these future scenarios, which makes no sense. If he's supposed to be consciously trying to change the future, why is he living out these crappy ones? Why does he live them all the way to the end? That's what makes me think that this is all like that episode seemed like a prequel to the entire series to me. That's what was going on in his brain while he was sitting in the car waiting to go into Clockworks. And once he gets into Clockworks, well, then who knows what happens, because it seems like Clockworks itself is a prison of the mind in a sense. Your thoughts, Rhee?
Yeah, real quick. Just gonna tackle that, but it's like, yeah, I do agree with you, but it's like the way how I see like the multiple worlds theory when he was in that car, I'm guessing he just picked his like right like way to live, and it just happens to be like going inside there. But yeah, as you were saying, Rhee.
I agree about Clockworks being inside of his mind. First of all, as far as all, let me rephrase this. As far as all the different people there, I think the only real people at Clockworks, Sydney, Lenny, and the people in the black and white. Now, we'll talk about David in general. season 2, we see at the end of the season, we'll start to notice that we had David and Yoda. We'll see too when they first bring him in and he's got the mustache. David, he's then all of a sudden comes away. He's like, "Where am I? That's not David. It's why." So that's why we get the reaction. It's one of those other personalities. So season 2 becomes more about who's in charge and who's running the show, because we see when he comes back from his year vacation that he's done big deals with himself, and that's you talking with. So it's just about who's running the show, and we start to see more of his transition from, like we were talking about the colors before. He goes from that nice, pretty blue, the happy David, so to speak, and I'm starting to see that more too with the colors and the relating to the different emotions and stuff like that. And yeah, you can look.
You're breaking up a little bit,
Go
Rhee.
with the end call.
You're breaking up. Go ahead. Oh. All right. Let's pick up BBM kind of on where she was talking about in that episode. I did notice the different powers that the different Davids had. Did you notice that? They all had different powers. The homeless David had the fire power almost. The rich David, had the more psychic, make your nose bleed, brain hurt type power. What are your thoughts on that? And Rhee, will give you one more chance. Not one more chance. We'll give you another chance to repeat what you said because you were breaking up. I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead, Rhee. See if you can finish up.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. Yeah, and actually I did notice that too. Like you said, the rich David, the one that, and he was the one that was that worked for the lady in the conference room at the meeting that was telling her about he's lying. He was the one that was getting inside the mines. Remember, he was bringing her coffee before? So that was like a younger version of that same David. So, and for fact, I think the milk loading dock David was probably the older one that Amy was taking care of when they were older too. So I think we've seen like a younger version, older version of those same Davids. But if you kind of go by that too, I mean, what is that? That's still going to be what? Is that 3 Davids too, I wonder? And then we got the homeless David? That would be 3 Davids. That's kind of curious. Can y'all think of more than 3? Homeless David, rich David, loading dock David.
There was the homeless one. Then there was the one that was like with his sister. Actually, no, there were like 2 with his sister, wasn't it? Like one with when he was like a little bit like elderly man. Then there was one where with his sister, she ended up getting shot. Or was it David who was end up getting shot? And then there was like one office David who was just there just punching papers, and then the whole mouse situation happened, which I don't even know if that was just David's abilities or was that an influence through the Shadow King? Because even like almost in every world you see a Shadow King there, except for the one world where you see where it looks like he even has abilities. He's just like living a normal life, which is like, wait a minute, so why wouldn't like that day when he's actually like going through all the possibilities or anything? It's like, did he not choose that life? It's like live. That seemed like the perfect utopia for him.
That's the other David. I forgot about the normal David. So that would be 4 Davids. But yeah, we're talking about the 2 Davids with Amy. That's where he was younger and then he was older. I think the only one we didn't see when he was older was the normal David, so to speak. I don't remember seeing him when he was older. We just seen him at the one time. And then it went to the baby. It focused on the baby last, remember? Because I thought that was really weird that it went on the baby, because it made me think of the Shadow King, because that's when he attached to David. So, yeah, I'm going to rewatch that episode now because that's messing with my head. But Yeah, but we seen him transform just this whole season though, to from nice blue happy David to red David, which is just associated a lot with anger, anxiety, and stuff like that, rage. So he's full on turning into Legion now. Y'all notice that too?
Well, yeah, but in my opinion, he never even changed. He's always been this. This has been him. What we've seen of his past is little and less. It's only him getting into trouble. I see a lot of things going on there, but I know you want to rebut BBM, so go ahead while I'm trying to gather my thoughts.
I know, I'm thinking like there's possibly even another David, the one David that talks about like the multiple worlds theory. Like we don't even know if that one even has abilities, if the Shadow King is even in that world, or you're just like talking to some random person about this like one crackpot theory that he heard about the multiple worlds. You know?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, just bringing that up.
Yeah, I feel like it's his mind and it's a construction inside of his mind, like in the comic books, how it constructed the whole city. Because if you notice, one David would be in the car and the other David's on the homeless David's on the sidewalk. So they're simultaneously in the same place at the same time. How could you do that if you're simulating future events? Actually, I believe the one David looks at the homeless David or sees the homeless David going by. I can't remember exactly, but it's very odd. But I actually think that's what it actually looks like inside David's mind, in my opinion, is what we saw in that episode.
And I forgot to like rewatch that episode to see, did the elderly David look at the car and saw Sid in there? So if he actually did look in the car and saw Sid, she didn't look old at all. She still looked like the normal young version of Sid, which is like, wait a minute, she's supposed to age as well because he's kind of like the similar age to David. So why didn't she look older? If so, could she again just be something that David has simply just created?
Right. And if you go back to season 1 too, like you'll see where it first kind of when it for practice when him and Sydney kiss and she trades places with him and goes in his mind and it focuses in on his eyeball and you see all these little television screens with all the different personalities in his brain. But you see on that screen is Sydney and Amy and Farouk, and you just start to wonder who's really real at that point. It made me wonder then if she died at that point and became just another one of them, or if that's what made me first start wondering if Amy was even real and questioning, because and you seen King, the dog was on one, and but you just seen and she became overwhelmed. You seen that look of just where it just rushed on her. So yeah, you just don't even know how many of them in there. But yeah, you do. You see a homeless David look at the car, and it's definitely a woman in there. I don't know if it was in here or not. I don't think it was. So I think it's just someone else that's in there.
So I have a question for you, and BBM, you first. What do you think the first thing David is going to do since he broke out of D3?
For me, I still think that I really want to see between, David talking to that future Sid again. But if not, it's probably going to be a situation where we kind of see like a glimpse of it. Like he's just chilling alongside with Lenny. He's probably going to have that, Legion haircut that we saw that previous episode. And him just pretty much just looking at the past of like, I'm guessing the show can even open it up that way to like previously on Legion. And then it just like pans out to him again, just looking at the crystal ball and just him and Lenny just chilling on whatever location there are.
Yeah, on episodes you'll hear like supposedly on Legion or apparently on Legion is how the show starts. So that's really gives more evidence that all of it's on the mind.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, that's great. I love it.
And there are times like the show doesn't even do the previously on Legion, it just goes like straight to it. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, and then it goes right into the mind monologue. That's right what he says. He's like, apparently on Legion. It's really cool. So that's what makes me think almost all of season 2 is in his mind, because I could see him if he's actually been inside of that chamber for long. I could see him going crazy, going inside of his mind, and basically living there. Now, at what point did he break out? Did he break out during the trial at the end of the season? Is that when he actually broke out of that ball? And, David was reading people's mind from inside the ball, which was like his prison, but he's actually reading their minds and getting their thoughts. So that's how he's compiling themselves inside of his memory and trying to construct it and construct his own reality, therefore not making himself even crazier than he is, but it probably is making him insane. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense that D3 all of a sudden loves mutants and are the good guys, and everything got switched around, and then there's really no explanation for it. Any rebuttals?
Well, weren't they created just for mutants? Like, didn't they say that they created the 3 levels, D1, D2, and D3 for the new mutant threat? Like, I thought they said that was the whole purpose of them, but D3 is just like the field work basically for the new mutant threat.
Yeah, I think that's how it was in the beginning. Like the Visual was pretty much just hunting down mutants, period. But within that year gap,
I've been trying to figure out what their agenda is.
Yeah,
like exactly.
I'm still thinking that they still like on their agenda, like even like still capturing mutants. But since with the whole David and Farouk situation, like what, let's just actually team up with them for now. But then when like the both threats like neutralized, this probably might just revert back into it. Because like throughout like the whole like X-Men, history, it's like, okay, one point in time there's peace, but then it just reverts right back to, okay, we have to like fear the mutants again. So I think it's like that type of situation we're dealing with the show.
Are we still buffering everyone?
No, I don't know.
Someone said we were buffering in the chat.
Yeah, mine went and then it caught up really fast.
Right, I'm going to go to Avatar to finish this off. Let's give our we're coming up on an hour and a half in just a few minutes. Let's give our last thoughts on what we think we're going to see in season 3, and then we'll segue into the streams that are going to be on Rhee's channel, comparing all the comic books of Legion to the show. Anyone?
I'll start. I don't know. Last thoughts. Okay, well, I definitely think we need to like pay attention to. Okay, let me start with this. All right. When we're watching season 2, it's like part 2 or act 2, something like that, and it's talking about a lot of delusions and being inside the mind, and I think we got to keep that in mind when we're watching it, and basically take everything as a grain of salt. We need to pay attention to like who's been there. I don't know how to put this. Pay attention to who's running the show with David. Who responds when David is actually talking to them, to the environment around them. There we go. That's the way to put it. Because you'll notice some people are more interactive with other people, and some people aren't. And some people are only interactive with other people with psychic powers. Like, if they're only interactive with Sydney, you can pretty much write them off. And I definitely think, don't trust Sydney. I think she's going to come back and kick herself in the ass next season. And good. I hope you do. And I hope he comes back and kicks her ass too. Like I said, actually, no, I hope Lenny does. I retract that. And I definitely think we're going to see some mutants. And this is something I thought about too when you were talking a minute ago, BB. Do you think that there's probably like they're collecting like they were for the New Mutants? Like D3 could be doing something like that. Well, D2, I guess, would rather because they're the scientific part. But do you think that they could be gathering some New Mutant DNA or something like that going on?
I'd like to say we did see them in a circle in like a playroom in the beginning of season 2, and they actually referred to them kind of over the intercom, or they referred to the New Mutants, and they showed the children in the circle in the playroom. Your thoughts, BBM?
So yeah, with the whole New Mutant situation, it could be something like the Vision is like doing like a whole Weapon X situation. So I'm still kind of seeing like what Johnny was bringing up earlier about like Striker. So it's like they could be like, you know, just controlling like the New Mutants or something of that magnitude. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
So, do you have any last thoughts, BBM, about what you'll see in season 3? And go ahead and plug yourself. And I'm actually gonna get you to help me do shout outs in the chat.
God damn it, they actually make me doing shout outs this time around.
But yeah,
final thoughts. We didn't try to dodge it, but final thoughts. I probably have to say, like, I fingers crossed that they give me Professor Xavier. I know they're probably not going to, but if you have someone as powerful as Professor Xavier can at least project his mind or just control someone to just like, hopefully free will, like they will opt to like, okay, you can just like use me as a vessel, Professor X, to talk to your son. I would just like that type of situation there, because I think it's probably been done in the comics as well. If not, just get someone, Patrick Stewart, just get him on, damn it. But another thing I kind of hope for is more of Autonomy, more of Clark, you know, to at least like flesh out even more of Clark at this point. And lastly, to see more of, oh my gosh, it just slipped my mind. One last thing I wanted to see. Hopefully it'll come back to me after I can do the shout outs. But for those who tuned in, thank you for watching. Let me actually scroll up here, from Marie, Mackenzie Burns, Moni G, Doc Sidious, Matt, who else was here? Eduardo, Reese was here. Who else? Al, Red Sox fan. I think that is it. For those who dropped by earlier, who I cannot find in the chat, I think Elmar as well stopped by.
Yeah, LMR and Terry T.
Yeah. And like we have like a lot of content creators within this live chat. For those who actually see within like the watching like later in the future and go into like the live chat replay, there's like excellent people with content. Go do check them out.
Yeah, actually,
Milt was here as well. Just remembered him.
Oh yeah, Milt. Yeah, me and Milt will be doing a stream. And actually tomorrow I'll be on Mackenzie L. Burns' channel. It's going to be a part 2 of the small council, not the small folk and the advisors of the main characters in Game of Thrones. And I believe it's going to be, oh, see, I don't have a time. I wish Mackenzie was in the chat. I believe it's going to be around 6 Central Time, if I'm not mistaken. So check that out, Mackenzie L. Burns. And I would like to say thank you to everyone in the chat. I love you all. I had so much fun. Thank you, BBM. Thank you, Rhee, for coming on. And actually, Rhee, why don't you go ahead and did you plug your channel and your stream, upcoming stream?
We're having a Legion comic book stream, special stream next week on my channel, Tuesday night, I guess, guys. Yep, same time, different channel. Come check us out, subscribe. We're gonna start doing some stuff over there. I'm on Facebook, Twitter. I'm all over the place. Instagram. Just come check me out, hang out, say hi. Check out Legion, guys. It's on Hulu and Fox. As soon as I get better internet, I'll set up one of them Reddit rooms for you guys to watch it. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. Thank you, BBM. Thank you, Johnny. Always a pleasure talking to you guys. Thanks, chat. I appreciate all you guys coming out tonight and hanging out with us. I'll see you guys in the next stream.
All right, fantastic. And we will see you next time, and take care of everyone. Much love and positivity to all. Good night or good morning, wherever you are in the world.